What I'm about to reveal will shake the foundations of everything you thought you knew about XRP, Ripple, and the hidden forces controlling the crypto world. Prepare for shock, because what's happening right now is nothing short of unprecedented, a seismic move that the mainstream media is desperately trying to bury. Imagine institutions like BlackRock quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, the SEC's latest whispers that could flip the entire market, and global financial heavyweights like the IMF watching from the sidelines while billions of dollars hang in the balance. This isn't speculation, this is insider-level, real-time intel, and if you miss this moment, you could be left behind while others capitalize on the biggest XRP shakeup of the decade. The magnitude of what's unfolding will leave you questioning everything. WTF is happening with XRP right now, and why is no one talking about the full story? Before we dive deeper, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell because you need to stay ahead of these moves. This information could change your entire trading strategy and your financial future. What I'm about to show you will expose the patterns, the hidden liquidity shifts, and the strategic plays that only elite traders and institutional players understand, revealing why XRP is positioned to either explode to levels mainstream analysts would never dare predict, or plummet if you're not paying attention. Trust me, you're about to witness a level of market manipulation, coordination, and insider activity that makes everything you thought you knew about crypto look like child's play. This is the story they don't want you to see, the signals that scream impending movement, and the connections from Wall Street titans to Ripple's executive strategy that will leave you questioning who really controls the flow of XRP. Now listen carefully, because this is where the noise ends and the authority begins, and this is where weak hands get shaken out while informed viewers lean in closer. When you look at the on-chain data that most retail traders never even bother to check, you start seeing anomalies that simply do not happen by accident. XRP liquidity pools have been behaving in ways that mirror pre-expansion phases seen before historic moves in traditional finance, the same type of compression and silent accumulation patterns analysts later admitted they missed before massive breakouts in legacy assets. We're talking about volume behavior that does not align with retail sentiment at all, suggesting entities with deep pockets are positioning themselves while the public is distracted by short-term price action. This is the exact same playbook institutions like BlackRock have used for decades, quietly accumulating when confidence is low and headlines are confusing, and suddenly unleashing momentum once positioning is complete. Meanwhile, Ripple's continued engagement with regulators and global payment corridors is not just background noise, it's strategic signaling. The SEC may posture publicly, but behind closed doors, the conversation has shifted, and legal analysts tied to major financial firms have already acknowledged that the precedent Ripple has forced into existence changes how digital assets are viewed at a structural level. Add to this the fact that the IMF has openly discussed the future of cross-border liquidity and digital settlement systems, and suddenly XRP's design doesn't look speculative, it looks inevitable. Even whispers coming out of banking conferences hint that legacy systems cannot keep up with the demands of instant settlement, and XRP is repeatedly mentioned in the same breath as solutions being tested or evaluated. Ask yourself why mainstream analysts refuse to connect these dots. Is it ignorance, or is it because acknowledging this would force them to admit that XRP is not just another altcoin, but a financial instrument sitting at the intersection of regulation, liquidity, and institutional necessity? This is why veteran traders are no longer asking if something big is coming, but when, because the data, the authority figures, and the institutional behavior are all aligning in a way that screams preparation rather than randomness. Here's where it gets even more explosive, because now we're talking about the catalyst, the spark that could ignite the next massive XRP move, and why you need to be prepared for chaos disguised as opportunity. The whispers we're seeing are no longer just speculation. They are corroborated by multiple sources tied to banking corridors, exchanges, and regulatory circles. XRP is in a unique position where technical progress, legal clarity, and institutional adoption are converging simultaneously. While mainstream outlets push narratives of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the reality behind the curtain is that Ripple's partnerships with major financial institutions are quietly accelerating, onboarding corridors that handle billions in fiat flow. BlackRock, JP Morgan, and even European financial giants have been flagged in private disclosures as observers, participants, or indirect beneficiaries of XRP liquidity ramps. And yet public media barely mentions a fraction of this. What's more, FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, is being weaponized strategically, with social media campaigns designed to trigger weak hands while insiders quietly accumulate, reminiscent of the manipulation cycles we've seen in crypto history, but on a scale exponentially larger. Ask yourself, why would XRP see periodic corrections that look engineered rather than natural? Why do certain whales move in near-perfect synchronization with news cycles? The answer is preparation for a move so big that it will catch 99% of traders off guard. This is why it's critical you do not panic at the price swings you see on the surface. Everything from regulatory ambiguity to short-term price volatility is being used as cover for strategic positioning. If you're paying attention, you can see the signals in exchange flows, ledger movements, and institutional messaging. Prepare for shock, because when the catalyst hits, the market will move faster than anyone online will anticipate, and the mainstream narrative will scramble to catch up. Ignoring this is not an option. This is the moment where being informed becomes profitable and being uninformed becomes costly. Now, let's get brutally real about price, because this is where the stakes are highest and the truth cuts through the noise. XRP is not just drifting aimlessly, it is being strategically positioned to test levels that most retail traders would consider outrageous, yet entirely justified when you connect the dots. When you overlay liquidity movements, institutional accumulation, and Ripple's expanding payment corridor activity, the math screams one thing: the market is being engineered for a massive breakout. Look at the historical patterns. Every time XRP consolidated under legal or regulatory pressure, it was followed by explosive moves once clarity emerged. And make no mistake, clarity is coming sooner than most expect, as whispers from SEC insiders and legal analysts suggest a pivotal moment is near, one that could redefine XRP's legal and financial status permanently. Factor in the liquidity injections from banking partners, the IMF's nod to digital settlement frameworks, and subtle yet consistent support from massive funds, and suddenly what looks like volatility is actually the calm before a tsunami. Ask yourself, does it make sense that the same coins that have been quietly accumulating for months, even years, would remain dormant without a target? Absolutely not. They are being staged for maximum impact, and those who act without understanding the timing risk getting caught in a sell-off while the smart money positions for the real gains. The final warning here is simple. Do not underestimate the complexity of what's happening. This is not speculation, this is strategy, and the numbers, data, and institutional signals all point to a market that is primed for dramatic action. If you ignore this, you will look back and wonder how you missed the single most coordinated XRP movement in history, and the financial implications will hit harder than any FUD narrative ever could. Timing, insight, and decisive action are your only allies in this moment. Respected viewers, the picture is now crystal clear. XRP is at a crossroads unlike anything the market has ever seen. The convergence of legal clarity, institutional accumulation, and global payment adoption creates a scenario so powerful that hesitation is your enemy. This is the moment when insiders act, when patterns become profits, and when the mainstream narrative will scramble to catch up. But by then, it will be too late for those who weren't paying attention. The signals, the data, and the hidden maneuvers by giants like BlackRock, JP Morgan, and the IMF are screaming one truth. XRP is not just a digital asset. It is a financial instrument positioned to rewrite the rules of liquidity, settlement, and profit potential. Remember, what you see on the charts is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath the surface, a tsunami of strategic positioning is building momentum. You now have the knowledge that 99% of traders will never see coming, the kind of privileged insight that can make the difference between getting left behind and riding the next wave to its peak. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and most importantly, stay ready, because when the next move hits, there will be no second chances. This is not hype. This is not opinion. This is the unfolding reality of XRP's most shocking development yet, and it is happening right now, right under everyone else's nose. Your next steps will determine whether you are a spectator or a participant in what could be the defining crypto moment of the decade. If you want, I see